Jai Hind everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we will talk about continental drift hypothesis. The continental drift hypothesis was developed by Alfred Wegener. He said that continents moved around Earth's surface and that they were once joined together as a single supercontinent named as Pangaea, means all Earth in ancient Greek. He said that Pangaea broke up long ago and that the continents then moved to their current position. Now we will talk about from where the continental drift idea came. First of all, get a map of the continents, cut each one out and join them together like a piece of puzzles. This is how they looked 250 million years ago. Besides the way the continents fit together, Wegener and his supporters collected a great deal of evidences for the continental drift hypothesis. First is identical rocks of the same type and age are found on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. Wegener said that the rocks had formed side by side and that the land had since moved apart. Second is mountain ranges with the same rock type, structure and ages are now on opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean. The Appalachians of the eastern United States and Canada, for example, are just like mountain ranges in eastern Greenland and Norway, etc. Next is ancient fossils of same species of extinct plants and animals are found in rocks of same age but are on continents that are now widely separated. Wegener proposed that the organisms had lived side by side but the land had moved apart after they were dead and fossilized. Fossils of the seed fern Glossopteris were too heavy to carry so far by wind. Mesosaurus was a swimming reptile but could only swim in fresh water. Cyanognathes and Lystrosaurus were land reptile and were unable to swim. Grooves and rocks deposits left by ancient glaciers are found today on different continents very close to the equator. This would indicate that the glacier wider formed in the middle of the ocean and covered most of the earth. Today, glaciers only form on land and nearer the pole. Wegener thought that the glaciers were centered over the southern landmass close to the southern pole and the continents moved to their present position later on. Next is coral reefs and coal-forming swamps are found in tropical and subtropical environment. But ancient coal seams and coral reefs are found in location where it is much too cold today. Wegener suggested that these creatures were alive in warm climate zones and that the fossils and coal later had drifted to new locations on the continent. Although Wegener's evidences was sound, most geologists at the time rejected his hypothesis on continental drift until technological advances presented even more evidence that the continent moved and give scientists the tools to develop a mechanism for Wegener's drifted continents. Now we will talk about magnetic polarity evidence. New evidence came in 1950s when studies on the Earth's magnetic history developed. Scientists used magnetometer devices capable of measuring the magnetic field intensity to look at the magnetic properties of rocks in many locations. Earth's magnetic field is like a magnet with its north pole near the geographic north pole and the south pole near the geographic south pole. Magnetite crystals are like tiny magnets that point to the north magnetic pole as they crystallize from magma. The crystals record both the direction and strength of the magnetic field at the time. The direction is known as field's magnetic polarity. Now we will talk about magnetic polarity on the same continent with the rocks of different ages. Geologists noted important things about the magnetic polarity of different aged rocks on the same continent. First is magnetic crystals in fresh volcanic rocks pointed to the current magnetic north pole, no matter what continent or where on the continent the rocks are located. Second is older rocks that are at the same age and are located on the same continent point to the same location, but that location is not the current north magnetic pole. Third is older rocks that are of different ages do not point to the same location or to the current magnetic north pole. In other words, although the magnetic crystals were pointing to the magnetic north pole, the location of the poles seemed to wander. Scientists were amazed to find that the north magnetic pole changed location through time. There are three possible explanations for this. First, the continents remained fixed and the North Magnetic Pole moved. Second, the North Magnetic Pole was still and the continents moved. And third, both the continents and the North Pole moved. Now we will talk about magnetic polarity on different continents with the rocks of the same age. 400 million years old, magnetite in Europe pointed to the different North Magnetic Pole than the same aged magnetite in North America. 250 million years ago, the North Pole were also different from the two continents. The scientists looked again at the three possible explanations. Only one can be correct. If the continents had remained fixed while the North Magnetic Pole moved, there must have been two separate North Poles. Since there is only one North Pole today, the only reasonable explanation is that the North Magnetic Pole has remained fixed but that the continents have moved. To test this, geologists fitted the continents together as Wegener had done. It worked. There has only been one magnetic North Pole and the continents have drifted. They named the phenomena of the magnetic pole that seemed to move but actually did not, apparent polar window. On the left of apparent North Pole for Europe and North America, if the continents were always in their current locations, the two part merge into one if the continents are allowed to drift. This evidence for continental drift gave geologists renewed interest in understanding how continents could move about on the planet's surface. With this, I'm ending up this topic. Hope you like the video. To know more about such topics, keep watching my videos. Jai Hind.